Okay, so in this video we will continue with the limb deficiencies. Okay, so here we see absence of bones and tissues of extremity. So sometimes the bone won't be there, or you will not see the tissues that is covering the extremities. So amelia means absence of limb. So you will see that there is no limb at all. So that is called as amelia. Then hemimelia means absence of all part of the limb, forearm and hand or lower leg or foot. In case of absence of all the part of the limb, okay, it can be upper limb, hand and the lower leg, then it is called as hemimelia. Amelia is absence of limb, so hemimelia is it is absence of all or part of the limb. Okay, forearm, everything totally, if it is absent, then we call it as hemimelia, both in the hand and the lower limb, upper limb as well as lower limb. Then phacomelia, you can see in the picture, absence of proximal portion of a limb and or feet attached to a trunk by a irregular shaped bone. So the bone also becomes irregular and you will see that it is shortened. Okay, so proximal portion of the limb is absent. Okay, so it is directly connected to the foot. So you see that how the thigh is directly connected to the foot and there is no femur bone, elongated femur bone. Okay, so and you don't even see the radial, right, the dorso, the bones that is there, tibial bone. Okay, you don't see that. Okay, and then phacomelia is that. Okay, so absence of proximal portion of a limb bone, limb, hand or feet attached to the trunk by a irregular shaped bone. So what could be the causes? It can be hereditary maternal drug, thalidomide, if the mother was put into a drug called thalidomide, and it can also be because of the hereditary. Diagnosis, again history collection, physical examination and x-ray. So management, what do we do? Prosthetic device. Okay, so surgical modification can be done of malformed limbs, then support the parents, educate the use of prosthetic device, how they can use the prosthetic device in order to maintain the normal mobility. Then next we will go to developmental dysplasia of the hip. Okay, so how there is a dislocation of the hip. So it is a group of disorder related to abnormal development of hip. It is the abnormal development of the proximal femur and acetabulum. So the femur where it fixed, that acetabulum, there is a problem in that. Okay, there is an abnormal development of the femur and acetabulum. Causes again genital breech presentation. So usually the baby on the vaginal delivery, the head will be fixed, and that is called as cephalic presentation. When the buttock is fixed on the pelvis, then we call that to be breech presentation. So when they are trying to deliver the baby, so normal is head will come, here buttock will come. So when they are trying to pull, it can lead to dislocation of the hip. Twins and large infant, if the baby is too fat. Okay, macrosomic. And you should also remember, macrosomic babies are larger babies and usually they are born for diabetic mothers. So infants tightly wrapped in blankets, when they tightly wrap, again bones are very soft, head is very skull is very soft, and their body also is very soft. When they tie tightly, then it can lead to dislocation of the bones, hip bone. So laxity of ligaments secondary to maternal hormones. Okay, so it can happen. So where the ligaments are actually causing this dislocation, which can happen because of the maternal hormones. Okay, then we'll see there are three types of hip dysplasia. They are acetabular dysplasia, subluxation, dislocation. So when we say acetabular dysplasia, so you can see the normal one, how there is a capsule labrum, ligamentum teres labrum capsule, and subluxed, you can see that how it has been thickened, right? And dislocated one, you can see how it is out of the that covering. Okay, so acetabular dysplasia, it is a shallow acetabulum. Then you will see upward slant of acetabulum. So shallow is deep acetabulum, then you will see that there is a upward slant of the acetabulum. Then subluxation, you will see a femoral head partially. In subluxation, you can see that it is little moved out of place. Dislocation is femoral head displaced superiorly over the rim, where is completely taken out of the joint. So clinical management, asymmetry of, so when you see history collection, physical examination, in the physical examination, when you see, you will see that asymmetry of thick thigh skin folds, gluteal fold. So one side more of the gluteal fold will be there, the other side it will be less. Then the affected leg will be shortened. Okay, the other leg will be normal, so the affected leg will look shorter than the other leg. Then you have limited hip adduction, you cannot spread the leg, it is painful for the baby, and click sound also will come. Limited ROM, range of motion, is affected in affected hip, you cannot turn. And there is a test that is done, that is Artolonius test. What do they do? Artolonius test: put the baby on supine position, flex both the knees. Okay, so flex both the knees and simultaneously try to roll the patient's, the child's leg, okay, in clockwise movement. That time you will hear a click sound. It means that there is a positive Artolonian's test, which means there is a dislocation of the hip. Apart from that, you will also see that there are skin folding in the buttock more one side, and the affected leg will be shorter than the longer leg. Then Trendelenburg sign, pelvis move upward on the, that's what I told you. That is what we have to, you Trendelenburg sign you have to, okay, pelvis move downward on the, when you do that, when you put the baby on the Trendelenburg position, you will see that the pelvis will move downward, okay, on the affected side. Okay, so you can see that in the diagram, arrow mark is the affected side. Okay, there you will see that the leg is shortened, right? A, diagram A, and gluteal fold is more on the shortened leg. Okay, that is because of the foldings. Okay, and then Artolonian's test, how they are performing, that you can see, that is given in the test, in the diagram. Asymmetry of thigh, skin floor, gluteal fold. Then in the B, picture B, you can see limited hip abduction, they will not be able to abduct. Okay, and then shortening of femur, you will see femur bone is shortened. D is Ortoloni's test, how you have to move, okay, in the clockwise movement. And Trendelenburg, when the child is put on this Trendelenburg position like standing, and you will see that the child pelvis move downward on the affected side. So this is the exact position that you can give to the child. So if for infant it is difficult, you cannot do. If for it is a big big child, then you can perform that test. Then Barlow's test, hip instability. You will see that the hip is unstable. Femoral head move out of the acetabulum when you elicit this Barlow's test. Then Alice sign, one leg lower than the other when knees are bent. All this you can actually identify when you do the Ortoloni's test itself. Then pain will be there in older children. Waddling gait and lordosis, because of the dislocation of the hip, they won't be able to balance and walk. Okay, so diagnosis, if you see, it is neonatal examination, physical examination, then we have to do x-ray. Okay, apart from x-ray and physical examination, then you have ultrasonography, CT, MRI, arthrogram. Next we will move to management. It depends on age and degree of the problem. So you have splint, brace, skin traction, all this can be used. Splint can be given, braces, skin traction, hip cast. You can see in the next page the diagram, pelvic harness brace for treatment of this dislocation of hip. So open reduction followed by hip spica cast. So they can do a open reduction, do the surgery and then they can give a cast. The nursing management, what all you have to do, it is the emotional support that you have to give it to parents. Then you have to teach parents about the purpose of splint and to maintain reduction devices. Then teach sponge bath to be given, teach time splint to on, when to remove, to wear it, when to remove, check the circulation. Okay, and then sponge bath should be given because of the splints, the baby cannot walk or the child should be immobilized. Long socks and shirts worn under braces, okay, to prevent any pressure over the area. Cast care should be given, check the blood circulation. Toe has to be checked, nails has to be seen, check out for any ulceration, wound or any foul smell. Maintain cleanliness, protect cast and diaper area. Okay, so diaper should not get wet with the cast. So don't leave food, small toys near older children. Okay, and then young infant feed in supine position with head elevation, hip and leg supported on pillow so that there is no pressure over the surgical area. Can feed child by keeping child in lap. Older children can sit up and feed. Toy and play is allowed, just give them to play. Okay, check skin and circulation regularly, assess neurovascular complication, parents education about application of correct devices, how to lift, feed and play. They should be advised about follow-up and treatment. Okay, so this is all about the deformities of the bone. Okay, so we have seen clubfoot, polydactyly, syndactyly, then extremities, absence, okay, amelia, hemimelia, phacomelia, and then we have seen hip dislocation, what are the, his dysplasia types, and what are the various, treatment that they have to take in. Okay, so next we will go to chromosomal abnormalities. So under chromosomal abnormalities, you have Down syndrome. Okay, so in the Down syndrome, it is a condition in which extra genetic material causes delay in the way a child develops both mentally and physically. Down syndrome is also called trisomy 21. So whenever there is, it can be due to some genetic or hereditary disorder where the genes are lesser, okay, chromosomes are lesser, then it can lead to abnormalities in chromosomes. So when we say Down syndrome, it is trisomy 21. Okay, so incidence when we see for trisomy 21, it is the most common chromosomal disorder occurring with a frequency of 1 is to 800 to 1 is to 1000 newborns. Okay, and then etiology, regular trisomy 21 is found in about 94 cases of Down syndrome. So we will see that regular trisomy is found in 94 cases. You will see that mostly it is regular trisomy 21. Okay, approximately 1 cases are mosaic or the other type. The result of 5% are due to translocations. Okay, and then we will see what are the clinical features. So you can see the diagram very well. Remember from head to toe, so it will be easy for you. Mental and physical retardation will be there. Remember, it is a chromosomal defect. So usually 46 of chromosomes. If it is a loss, then actually it affects the child mentally and physically. It leads to retardation of both mental and physical growth. Flat faces, you'll see that the no shape, the baby will have flat, where all the eyes, everything will look similar. An upward slant of eye. So eye, you will see that there is an upward slant. You can see in the picture how the eyes are given. Nose is small with flat nasal bridge. Okay, so you will not see a nasal bridge. It will be completely fat. Mouth shows narrow, short palate, small teeth, protruding tongue. There is a significant hypotonia, okay, low muscle tone. Then the skull appears small and dysplastic. There is characteristics of facial grimace on crying. Okay, so twitching of the face. Hands are short and broad. There is wide gap between the first and the second toe in the foot. Okay, so these are all the clinical manifestations that you can see. What are the other abnormalities? The child can also end up having, when the child has trisomy 21, congenital heart disease, gastrointestinal malformation, eye problem, hearing defects, thyroid dysfunction, atlanto-occipital subluxation. Okay, so all this you will find the abnormalities in the baby. Okay, then prenatal diagnosis and genetic counseling. So what do we do in this? So we have to give the counseling. Okay, prenatal diagnosis of Down syndrome is done through chorionic villus sampling and amniocentesis. So usually when they suspect that the mother has got, usually they do chorionic villus sampling. So in that they will get to know if the child has got chromosomal abnormalities. So they can ask them if they want to continue with the pregnancy, what could be done. Okay, then prenatal testing and genetic counseling should be offered to women of advanced age or those with a family history of Down syndrome. So mother exceeds the reproductive age. Okay, in that case they have to do and explain to them. Okay, or if they have any family history of Down syndrome. Therapeutic management, when you see, although there is no cure for Down syndrome, these children may require surgery to correct serious congenital anomaly. There is no surgery, but they can prevent, serious congenital anomaly. Surgeries can be done for that. Evaluation of sight, they have to check the eyes, ear, IQ level. Okay, neonatal and subsequent periodic testing of thyroid function has to be done. Growth delayed will be there, that has to be checked. Special growth charts are available to monitor for them. Nutrition, height, weight, according to them, what could be the nutrition that can be provided. Then growth hormone therapy may be considered to increase height. Okay, if they are not able to increase height, then growth hormone can be given. Okay, coming to nursing management. So I think I'll continue this in the next video and the last video of unit 5.